What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big 12 football channel. And it's time to preview the 2019 college football schedule for the Oklahoma Sooners. You can see the schedule on your screen. It's a very interesting schedule. Just a quick recap on Oklahoma. If you did not watch our early thoughts on every Big 12 school video, we ran through each school and gave you kind of just some early initial thoughts on each team. At that time, I didn't know Jalen Hurts was going to Oklahoma. So that's a big plus for them at quarterback. He's there to replace Kyler Murray, obviously. They've got, I think, plenty of weapons around him. They do lose some key guys like Marquise Brown. The biggest problem for me, the biggest problem for Oklahoma, I think, is going to be on the offensive line, where they lost 4 starters. If they can replace those guys, I think the offense will not miss a beat. Given that, and also if Jalen Hurts can throw the football effectively, which I think most people think that he can. They think that he has improved as a passer, and under Lincoln Riley, he will have a great year there at Oklahoma. Now, if he struggles to throw the football down the field, I think Oklahoma is definitely going to take a step back from where they were last year. That's the key: offensive line and Jalen Hurts' ability to throw the football. Now, defensively, I think this team is going to be even better. Really didn't lose much at all on that side of the ball. So Oklahoma should be right back there in the playoff conversation. I think Oklahoma and Texas are both at least in that discussion at this point. This is a very, very early look into this team, and that's kind of how we get things started, is just looking at the schedule. And you can see all of our schedule previews, all the videos that we do. They are organized for you there at sg1sports.com. I know we'll be doing a lot of things this offseason, so that kind of is a way for you to go and see, okay, click on schedule previews. You want to go watch a team schedule preview, you can do that, or whatever you want to see. So anyways, here's the schedule for Oklahoma, and they play Houston and UCLA in the non-conference. Those are very interesting matchups. Houston is going to be pretty good this year. Dana Holgorsen comes over, and they really return a lot. D'Eriq King back at quarterback. That could be a challenge for Oklahoma. Remember, it was just a few years ago when they played Houston in the opener and lost. So that is one to watch. UCLA on the road, that could be an interesting matchup as well. Chip Kelly's second year. We expect UCLA to be a lot better. So 2 pretty tough matchups in the non-conference. The conference schedule, you got Texas Tech, then at Kansas, Texas, West Virginia, at Kansas State, Iowa State, at Baylor, TCU, and at Oklahoma State. So it is a pretty difficult schedule for this team. The Big 12, to me, I love their schedule. Everyone plays everyone, round robin. It's the best schedule, best conference schedule, I think, in college football. And you have to like that they most of the teams have been playing pretty tough non-conference games. I know South Dakota is on there, but other than that, Oklahoma doesn't have really a super easy game. Now, Kansas, I think you could put them in that conversation. And that's what we're going to do next. We're going to look at the games that are pretty much guaranteed wins for Oklahoma. Now, Les Miles is at Kansas, but don't expect much, especially in year 1. So I think you can give Oklahoma wins, pretty much guaranteed victories against both South Dakota and Kansas. And then you look at the rest of this schedule, and something that I learned from last year is don't give these first-year head coaches too much credit. It takes a little time when a team or coach comes in and completely changes a program, changes a team into their style of play. And so I don't think Texas Tech is really going to be able to beat Oklahoma. Same thing with West Virginia. Kansas State, new head coach there. I think they're in great shape in the long run, but it might be a little bit hard for them to beat a team like Oklahoma in year 1. So all 3 of those games, to me, are going to be wins for Oklahoma. I feel pretty confident. And then TCU as well. They get them at home. TCU still not quite back to the level that they had been at, in my opinion. I think they'll be a little better this year maybe than they were last year, but I'm not really expecting them to be able to beat a team like Oklahoma on the road. So that leaves Houston, UCLA, Texas, Iowa State, Baylor on the road, and Oklahoma State on the road. 3 of these tough games on the road, 3 at home. These are the toughest 6 games, in my opinion. Oklahoma will be favored, maybe in every one of these games, but to run through this schedule and go undefeated, I think that is very, very tough. Last year they couldn't do it. They lost 1 game last season. I don't really see them winning all these games this year. Texas will be a challenge. Texas might even be better than Oklahoma this year. UCLA on the road against Chip Kelly, that could be a challenge. Houston, again, that's a That's a very interesting game. And then Iowa State and Baylor back-to-back. I think Baylor's going to be pretty good. I think Iowa State's going to be a dark horse in the Big 12. And that's right after playing Kansas State on the road. So I think you're looking at a projected win total. I'm going to say 9-12, but I'm kind of more thinking 9-11. I mean, I just don't know if Oklahoma's going to be able to. If they couldn't do it last year, it's tough to imagine them doing it this year. And perhaps they go 12-0 and then lose in the Big 12 championship game. So I would say, including the Big 12 championship game, I do not see this team going undefeated. I think they could go 12-1, just like they did last year. But also, I think they could slip up. I think Houston's a team that could pull off a huge upset. Texas is going to be tough again, and they may play them twice, but we're just talking about the regular season here. Iowa State, very, very tough team to play. They get them at home, but Iowa State's done it before, and they are bringing back a lot this year. Baylor on the road, that is a potential upset alert, because Baylor has played Oklahoma pretty tough the last couple of years. And then I don't expect Oklahoma State to be great this year, but it's a rivalry game. It's at the end of the year. It's on the road, so that's another game you have to look at. So I think worst case scenario is probably 9-3, and that would obviously keep them out of the playoffs. I don't anticipate that happening, though. I think this is a 10 or 11 win team. That's really my gut. But there are so many different things that could happen, and there are a lot of teams that we just don't know a whole lot about right now. So that's why I'm going to say 9-12 wins. Worst case scenario, 9-3. Best case scenario, they run the table 12-0. But I don't really see this team going 13-0. So we're going to say best case scenario, 12-1, and win the Big 12, back to the playoffs. Thank you for watching this video. If you're a Big 12 football fan, please subscribe to the channel. As always, leave your comments down below. We always like to hear from you. And for the latest in Big 12 football, keep it right here.